G'day mate and welcome back to Oxygen Not Included with me, JD. So, last episode we got our Pacu farm, our Morb farm and our Puft farm up and running. And this episode, I want to do some more tweaking with this area. And the only other thing, well, I made two changes. I actually made this whole area taller. Just because there was more room at the top, so I figured why not use it. Also moved the Morb farms because these little buggers can jump up 2 tiles, so it was easy to have a ladder in here and still deliver our Morbs in when we get more Morbs, which is they only come from the old-fashioned outhouse toilets. The other thing I changed is I changed this piping to have insulated pipe along to here and then radiant pipe along to there because it was not quite enough cooling and our liquid pump was getting up into the 114 degrees range. We could definitely do with more hydrogen in this loop. We've currently got hydrogen going to this loop to sort of cool this area down slightly. What we actually need to do is we need to get more power so we can swap over to the Thermo Aqua Tuner. It uses a lot more power, but it then moves liquid, and even though the liquid doesn't have the same thermal capacity, there's 10 kilos of it per tile compared to 1 kilo with gases, so it has more thermal mass overall. So, the other thing we need to do is we've got a couple of jobs mastered. Nope, we've just got Meep. So Meep can get moved up to the next level of art. We can get rid of that. So what I want to do is we've got our Pacus down here, which are overcrowded and glum. They're just generally grumpy. They're grumpy for a couple of reasons. One, there's limited water in here, so we need to pump some more water in. I'm just going to take that straight across. Put a liquid vent there, and then the plumbing will work on a tick-tock fashion. So it'll send one amount of liquid this way, and then one amount of liquid that way. If this pipe is full, it'll still do a tick-tock, even though the pipe's full. It's just how the game mechanics work. So that'll add more liquid into this polluted water pile, which will give our Pacus a little bit more room to move. Next thing I want to do is, where's our research? So the next thing I really want to play with is I want to play with the smart storage and the transportation of said storage. So we're going to say okay to those two to get research started. And I want to put an auto sweeper in here. Okay, so the auto sweeper is the technology we're about to unlock. Actually, let's just go back and research for a second. So we're going to unlock the conveyor overlay so we can see conveyors, the auto sweeper, and the smart storage. The smart storage bin, because it uses power continuously, it's fairly useless. I really, really don't like using them at all because they have a constant draw of 60 watts worth of power. But the auto sweeper will basically give us a free dupe who will just stand there and move things A to B, into storage or out of storage. In our case, we're going to put one right here. And if I look at the power overlay, we're going to hook that straight up to power. And if I say, hey you, this pufflet egg right over here, incubate it. That auto sweeper is going to swing down, grab that pufflet egg, and put it straight in there and start the incubation process. I want this one actually to do a puff prints, but we're all out of those at the moment, so I'm just going to incubate the other one and be done with it. So those two are now being incubated. The other thing I actually want to do is I want to put a gas pump up this top corner, and with just a tiny bit of smarts, I want to have a gas element sensor, then a gas shut off, and then we're going to take this gas pipe all the way down to here and vent out there, and we're going to take the other gas pipe and we're just going to vent it there for the moment. We want to be able to clear stuff out of this room. With our automation, we're going to go with a NOT gate. And hook that up, that up. And I'm going to set this to polluted oxygen. So the idea is if this is not polluted oxygen, it'll run out this gas shutoff. Okay, that's the simple concept going on here. And if we hook up our power again, hook that up, go to our ventilation, and we can see that's a bit of polluted oxygen. That'll pass straight through. But this oxygen I have in this room will be spat out over here. I really don't want the oxygen in here at this stage. I really want this room to be solid polluted oxygen. And unfortunately, everything's overpressurized because we just have far too much oxygen in the base. We're producing too much. Yeah, it's a funny problem to have. We're producing too much oxygen. Have I hit the power limits for our wire? Yeah, it looks like we've hit the power limits for our wire. These guys don't have any coal. They don't need coal, but they don't have coal either. Yeah, okay. We're definitely hitting some power limits here. Alright, so that'll move the oxygen out of here because I want the puffs to be able to eat the polluted oxygen and then spit out slime, because that's the other thing we want to move around. We want to go back into refinement and we want to use the algae distiller, which we accessed a very, very long time ago. And of course, you need some tiles to be put on top of. Refinement. Or not no refinery, algae distillery. So I want to pop 2 of those there. What an algae distillery does is it converts the slime into algae. Okay, it's a very, very simple process. It doesn't do anything too complicated. And I don't want duplicates to have access to these machines because they don't require a duplicate to operate them. I want them to be all run by an auto sweeper. So again, I'm going to put an auto sweeper over here. Now these guys output. Let's go back into our refinement. So they take in 600 grams worth of slime and 120 watts worth of power, and they output 200 grams worth of algae and 400 grams worth of water. So it converts the polluted oxygen, which is being made both by the off-gassing of our polluted water and by our morbs, and any polluted oxygen we find anywhere on the map, we can pump into this room. Our puffs will then convert that polluted oxygen into slime. The slime we can then convert into water, and we can convert into algae. And funnily enough, our fish require algae. So we're making a whole circle of life thing over here. So into our research, which is partially done. Let's go to game speed 3. In our research, we're going to unlock, sooner or later, we're going to unlock a conveyor loader and a conveyor receptacle. So I want a loader to go, actually I want a couple of loaders. I want 2 loaders. Who's scolding in line? Because you're over here. Fixed for the moment. 119 degrees. Yeah, it's warm down there. Okay, so back to what we're saying. Shipping. I want a conveyor receptacle then. Okay, so this literally just moves things from A to B. Okay, in here I want to say, hey you, we want organic. We want slime. And straight away you can see our auto sweeper is picking up a heap of slime. We've already got 800 kilos worth of slime in this one box. If I add more power, and more power, we can then bring our slime over to here. Okay, our auto sweeper can reach 9 tiles, or from where it is, 5 tiles, 4 tiles in any direction, to get us this conveyor out. So again, plumbing. I already have nasty polluted water right here. So I want to come to probably there and just liquid vent, and we'll just dump it into our great pool of polluted water. Power, hey? Did something break, or we're just overloading the power network? No, it looks like we actually don't have enough generators on that. No, there is one single coal generator trying to do 1800 watts worth of power. Okay. Well, we have cleared out this. We want to deconstruct buildings. We have cleared out this area. We're no longer using it. So let's put it back into use. Power. Oh no, we've got two of them trying to pivot to 1800 watts worth. Okay. So let's go put a couple over here. It is a stopgap measure, but there are certain times when that's all you need. Can I have the automation overlay, please? Hook that up to the same battery. Copy your settings there to there. And somebody go fill some coal under there. We've got another... Oh, let's print off 500 kilos of algae, because why not? I know we can take in more dupes, but I can't remember what I need at the moment. And apart from a really strong cooking... Oh, construction. Actually, did we need something who could build stuff? I want jobs. No. I want priorities. Sort by build. Yeah, we needed somebody who can build. So guess what? We're going to bring in May, who has +5 at construction, which is what we really want, but is a loud sleeper with a bottomless stomach. So they're going to eat more. Not that that really worries us. But loud sleep is something we're going to have to deal with. So we're going to go with construction +5 is going to be your name. We're going to print you off. And so who is this? This is strength +3 supply. We're going to move your bed. And then we're going to put construction 5 over there. Because a loud sleeper snores. Always a good start. Construction 5 and ranch 5 narco. So a loud sleeper snores, and they actually get a like sound wave around them. And honestly, look, as long as the 2 beds beside them aren't full, it won't really matter. But it will sort of matter a little bit. So, okay, back to our slime. So we're making slime. We've got some slime in, some algae out with some polluted water. Polluted water is obviously being just dumped down into this area. That's perfectly fine. Next thing we need is we need a conveyor loader again, because we've now got algae up here. And algae needs to come down to this area to be fed into our fish feeder. So again, bit of power lines. Luckily, these things don't use power unless they're active. So it's only when they're moving things around do they actually use power. So we're going to bring that line down straight into there. Unpause that. We want you to take organic algae, and this has actually got to produce enough algae to then drop it on the floor. Oh, your pipe is blocked. Really? They didn't fix that? Deconstruct. Liquid pipe. Plumbing. because oxygen not included. That go away, that go. And we'll put that down here. So, we've delivered some algae. Algae is going to get pushed down here, through this conveyor, into the conveyor rail, where hopefully, if I drop the priority on that and raise the priority on that, no, I bet you it's off by a tile. It turns out we don't need to access this tile, we'd access... no. There's too much algae in there. Okay, problem sorted. I'm going to copy that. Oop. I'm going to copy that and put that there then. And then I'm going to copy settings, paste there, and deconstruct that. Okay. So algae can come into this one and into this fish feeder. Eventually, when the water gets high enough, the fish will be able to actually use it. And I'm going to deconstruct that, and I'm going to go with ventilation, high pressure gas vent. Just because normally in a normal base you'd be clearing. You would never end up in a situation where you have too much air, too much oxygen. Okay. So the other thing that this auto sweeper will do, and this auto sweeper will do, is when fish die or puffs die, they're going to get turned into meat. Okay? Puffs, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it happens with old... Yeah, puffs, it happens with old age. Fish, it also happens with old age. And like this guy's at 24 of 25 cycles. Fish do not live long. So we want to, again, shipping. We want a conveyor loader. I'll pop that there. And I'm going to tell you, hey, I want you to have cooking ingredient. Nope. The other cooking ingredient. Edible. I want you to move meat. And copy settings from there to there. And we have our little kitchen area over here. Shipping, conveyor receptacle. Can I pop one in? I can pop one in like that. So, again, we're going to take our rail and I'm going to bring it across. I'm going to bring this one and join it into the same rail because there's no point running two conveyor belts across the whole map. And then I'm going to take this one and put it straight into there. Deconstruct. Conveyor overlay. Get rid of those that were a mistake. And power. Power, 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 power. Always with the power. Okay. So, both of these should take meat. Now, down here, because we've had the fish cycling so fast, we already have meat loaded in. And you can see it's being shipped out straight away before it goes rotten, because we don't want rotten food. Unfortunately, it just got turned into a rot pile halfway through this biome, because it's been sitting there for too long. And dropped down there, so it means it's now got to go into our compost heap when a dupe gets to it. But this will let us ship our algae down to here, which our fish can eat, okay? It'll let us ship our... it'll let us ship our slime across to here, which we can then convert into algae and water. The algae get eaten by the fish. The morbs will keep producing polluted oxygen. The polluted water will off-gas polluted oxygen as well. The puffs will eat the polluted oxygen, pop out slime, which we're going to turn into algae, which we're then going to feed to our fish, and we've got a complete life cycle there. At the same time, we're going to also convert our fish, when they die of old age, into meat, which we can then go pop over here for food storage. And our puffs, same story, we'll convert them into food and bring them over here. The only thing we don't have is we don't have any cap on our ranch. Now, I know from experience that we can only store about 6 puffs in here. So, my 7th puff needs a special house to live in where he can live to a ripe old age of barbecue. So if I put tile there, deconstruct, we want buildings, I want that gone. I need a special room to keep a Puft in. So I want to copy that, put that there, copy that, put that there as well. Do I need a little more? Let's put a ladder in. I want to copy those settings and put them in here. And unlimited critters. And they're all going to be puffs. I don't want pufflets. I just want the puffs. So that way the old ones can be brought in here. Now, this is a lovely little room. And it's set up especially for taking your older critters and giving them a final resting place. Let's put it that way. So we want to set this to be... No, actually I need one more tile. One more tile, two more tiles. Deconstruct that and those two. And that's going to mean automation, deconstruct, all of that. We'll get there in the end. Okay, so I need a mesh tile here. And then a clock sensor there. And then a door here, here, and here. Okay, automation. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're just going to, for the moment, copy our settings straight down. And ideally, we would manually fill this up with water, because that takes a bit of time, and we're sort of rushing through things. We're going to look up polluted water. 1,315, I think. You're not going to tell me how hot the water is. Really? Okay, if I paint up there, can I then... 41 degrees. Okay, maybe 300. 26 degrees. Okay, that's a bit better. So, you would fill this room up to that point. So it's full to here. Okay, that's perfectly fine. All the doors will keep functioning when they're flooded. That's really not an issue. In our sandbox, we would have an overpopulated puff situation. So if we go to spawner, we want a critter, a puffed, just a single puffed. I'm going to pop him in here. Okay, so when this gets overpopulated, because it will always get overpopulated eventually, we'd then need to bring a puffed over here. So he's got a special place to keep himself. Now, he's going to be very, very grumpy and confined and all sorts of problems. That's perfectly fine. We're not worried about any of that. Because what we're actually going to do is, at a certain time of the night, and... okay. So I'm going to set these at... I'm going to run backward. So you're at 0. You're at 97. You're at 93. And you're at like 80. That'll do. At a certain time of the day, you're injured. What are you called? Ranching 5. Ranching 5, go have a rest. I don't think it was that Ranching 5. I think it was the other Ranching 5. It's alright. at a certain time of the day, each of these doors are going to shut. And logically, when each of these doors are going to shut, the water's level's going to move up higher and higher and higher. Which means our poor Puff that's in here that's trapped, that is our overpopulated Puff, the guy that we don't want anyway, may accidentally drown. That's one door. That's two doors. Water level's going up higher. Three doors. And I just forgot that I actually need to do airflow tile there and there, because I do need to push the gases out. And our poor Puft is confined, glum, and currently in the process of drowning. When his drowning cycle is over, which even though I'm running on 3x speed, it seems really slow. I've been playing too much Factorio, and Factorio just seems so much faster than Oxygen Not Included at times. There we go. So when he drowns, he's going to turn into a piece of meat. All the doors are going to reopen step by step by step. Once they reopen, all the water will come and flood back down, and we can bring new overpopulated Puffs back into this area to be kept. Yeah. Or some such thing like that. So that is pretty much the end of this episode. We've automated our fishery and our Morb and our Puffs. The only thing that we would want to do is around the base, probably on these outskirts where we are traveling for miles in one direction. We could put down outhouses, okay, so dupes don't have to run all the way back to actually use a real toilet. There are toilets put out in the middle of nowhere. And the only thing you have to do is when they reach that full stage, you just disable them. And if you wait a couple of cycles, a lovely Morb will crawl out of the toilet for you, at which point you can wrangle him and put him in here and he can be perfectly happy in here. As for our fish, who are now wild and happy, they're perfectly happy as they are. Their population will not increase from the number you've got here unless you maintain feeding them, okay? I really, really recommend that you actually have 2 of these set up. Probably with your... probably by making the whole... Well, probably with 2 auto sweepers, actually, to be honest. So I normally recommend you put one here that is a fed one, and one beside it that's an unfed one. Because at the same time, each egg cracks is going to leave eggshells. You're going to want a lot of eggshells to make... If we come over here... You need a lot of eggshells to make lime. So that's 5 kilos of eggshells to make 5 kilos of lime. And actually we don't have... Oh, we do have. There it is, the metal refinery. Let's turn off the whole list of... Iron to steel needs 10 kilos of lime. Right, along with some refined carbon, some steel, some iron, the other stuff. But refined carbon is coal. That's easy enough. Iron we will actually find out in space when we get there, so that's easy enough. Lime is the one thing that really, really holds you back. And this is why early on I am showing and demonstrating how to make not only your hatch farm to give you a good supply of coal, along with, you know, you can get stuff that you're not using be eaten and used, and a supply of meat, and so on and so forth. At the same time, with a Puft and a fishery or 2 fisheries, you can start stockpiling lime really, really early in the game. It doesn't go off, it never expires. You can set this, as I have, to eggshell to lime, and just set it on automatic and walk away. And over time, you will produce a good supply of lime. You can see, even though we haven't made any steel yet, I already have 40 kilos worth of lime there. Is that... I think it's consumable. Yeah, 40 kilos. So I've already got 40 kilos of lime that has accumulated during this playthrough so far. And we haven't started trying to dig it out. You can dig out fossils, which are another source of lime. Unfortunately, Is it going to show me the recipe? Fossil for lime. There we go. So again, 100 kilos worth of fossil, which means each tile you dig up of fossil will probably give you about 25 kilos of lime, which is not a lot of steel in the long run. Anyway, I'm going to leave this episode here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you're enjoying this little Oxygen Not Included tutorial series. Next episode, not a clue. Probably power. We need to look at some sort of power problem. Which probably means we need to go for a bit of an explore run. So, I will see you guys in the next episode. I do hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.